Now, if you're one of those people that hate having difficult conversation, I'm sorry to tell you, you have to have those difficult conversation and make difficult decisions before your hair transplant. Now, I've had cases of clients coming to me ready for a hair transplant, but by the time I talk to them after the consultation, walk them through the process, time they need to take off from work, financial commitment they need to make, guess what? They say, hey, doc, I'll reach back to you. And guess what? I never hear back from them. And while I do understand, but I'm going to give you 5 really difficult decisions you need to make, or 5 difficult things you need to think about before your hair transplant. Now I understand the reason why they don't reach back, because they never thought they had to think about it, never thought they had to think through all these difficult or have this difficult conversation. Now, if this is you thinking about a hair transplant, or you're dealing with hair loss and you've been looking for what are your treatment options, or you really don't even know if you're going to be a candidate for hair transplant, now it's time for you to make the appointment with us at Havila Hair Restoration. And if you're coming across this video for the first time, my name is Dr. Echefu. I'm a hair transplant surgeon, a hair loss coach. I've helped thousands of my clients regain confidence through hair regrowth and hair transplant. So make that appointment with us. We offer free virtual appointments 7 days a week, and somebody from my team will get in touch with you and talk to you and walk through the next steps on what to do. So number one, like the gentleman that I was talking to that came for the hair consultation wanting a hair transplant, he was ready. But by the time we finished talking, I told him, hey, you need some time off. Recommended time is 2 to 5 days at least. And he's like, no, hey doc, I don't want to take off work. Even if I want to take off work, I don't want to let anyone know at work what I'm about to do, so they don't get into my business or they don't get in my business. I do understand that, but your body needs time to heal, especially if you're coming from out of state. You can't just fly in today, have the hair transplant tomorrow, fly out and just go straight back to work. No, you need to give yourself time, at least 2 days after hair transplant. And he says, that won't be possible. And I never heard back from him. That's okay if I don't hear back, but at least he was able to understand that hair transplant procedure requires time. Time for yourself, time for healing before you get back to work. So if this is you thinking about a hair transplant, you need to have that difficult discussion with your job, with your spouse, because you need time to recover. So this leads to my point number 2, financial commitment. You need to have that difficult conversation with yourself, or with your partner, or with your spouse. You need to have that conversation, because hair transplant is an investment in yourself. Cost depends on the type of hair transplant you get, the number of grafts, the size or area of hair loss, if you're going to get other non-surgical treatment. Now, if you're thinking about hair transplant and you're thinking about the financial commitment, I have a video on YouTube that's talking about how to make the right financial decisions when it comes to hair transplant. If you haven't watched that video, head over to YouTube. YouTube name is Dr. Echefu. I promise you, we don't gatekeep over here. I tell you what you need to know about hair transplant so that you can make the right decision. So if this is you going for a hair transplant, you need to understand finances is a big thing. It's actually number one why people don't want to proceed with a hair transplant. I can't even tell you how many people that didn't proceed with a hair transplant because of finances. So if this is you, go ahead and watch that video on YouTube about finances and how you can make the right decision. Number 3, you need to have the discussion about who is going to support you, your partner or your spouse or your family member. You need to have that difficult discussion with someone that's going to be there for you after the hair transplant. Remember, you cannot drive after the hair transplant because you'll be drowsy, sleepy, groggy, so you cannot drive. The next day, you might also be so tired to take care of yourself. So you need somebody to be around you to help you out. So if this is you, you need to have that difficult conversation. Now, if you don't know how to have that difficult conversation, or your spouse or your partner is not in support of you going for a hair transplant, guess what? I also have a video on YouTube on how to have that discussion with your spouse or your partner. These discussions are very important to having a successful hair transplant, and that is why I talk about all these topics, or talk about all these things that you don't hear elsewhere. Now, the 4th difficult thing you need to think about and have discussion with yourself and with your hair transplant surgeon is medication, commitment to your medication. Now, some of the medications you might be on might be lifelong. or you might have to take it for a long, long time. So this is something you might need to be committed to. If you're not committed to it, that's going to be a problem. So you need to let your hair transplant surgeon know to see if you have different options. If you want topical medication or oral medication, or the time frame you're going to be on these medications before and after your hair transplant. So you need to have that difficult conversation and make sure you're committed to it. If you know you're not going to be committed to it, please, 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 please discuss that with your hair transplant surgeon, because you don't want that to affect your results after your hair transplant. And finally, number 5, the fifth most difficult thing you need to think about before you go for that hair transplant is consistency in your follow-up. Yes, after your hair transplant procedure, sometimes we want you to send us pictures of your transplanted area, or we want you to come into the clinic for us to take a look at your scalp and see what's going on and see how if your scalp skin is healing nicely, or we can have virtual follow-up. So you need to stay consistent. Ask the clinic, when do you want to see me? How do you do your follow-ups? How do you schedule your follow-ups? And number you can reach out if there's a problem. So knowing what to do, especially after your hair transplant. And also reading your post-op instructions is also important. It also helps to be staying consistent because you know the right questions to ask and what to watch out for. So if this is you going for a hair transplant and you will not stay consistent, or you will not have this difficult conversation with yourself and with your hair transplant surgeon, you need to stop. Do not proceed with the hair transplant. Yes. So, in summary of what I've said, 5 difficult things you need to think about before you go for that hair transplant. Number 1, you need to think about time away from work. You need to give yourself at least 2 to 5 days, depending on where you're going to get your hair transplant. You need to give yourself time. Number 2, financial commitment. Yes, you need to think about that. That's the number 1 reason why people don't proceed with hair transplant. Number 3 is partner or spouse support. Yes, you need to have that difficult conversation with your spouse or your partner and how they can help you. Are they going with you for the procedure, or they're just going to stay at home and watch you after your procedure? So it depends on what you guys come up with. You need that support. You need it. You do need it. Number 4, commitment to your medication, being diligent in taking those medications, having an open discussion with your hair transplant surgeon on what kind of medications you need or what will work for you. So have those conversations, have those hard conversations, and stay committed and consistent. Number 5, be consistent in your follow-up. Make sure you know your follow-ups. You read your post-op instructions. If there's any problem, let the clinic know. And I promise you, if you've had all this difficult conversation with your hair transplant surgeon, with your partner, with your spouse, with everyone around you, and also with yourself, I promise you, you will have a successful hair transplant procedure and also successful aftercare. And if you've loved this video, I know you're going to love every of my other of my video on YouTube. Head over to YouTube. YouTube name is Dr. Chefu. I teach you simple tips and tricks concerning hair regrowth and hair transplant. And if you know anyone dealing with hair loss, thinking about a hair transplant, not knowing what options, send them this video. Just send them this video. Let them watch it. Tell them, hey, look at this video. Let them watch it. And they're going to thank you because they're going to make the right decision for themselves. Or let them make the appointment and someone from my team will get in touch with them. Until next time, bye-bye.